each time we showed this to a major miner, it was a very, very consistent response. This is a 10 out of 10 on an opportunity, a big opportunity for grade from surface and scale that would measure in our view, that the top 10 potential global discoveries for copper. That constant narrative kept coming back from the majors, which is what drove me and gave me that confidence that we were chasing the right thing. We did consider looking at other assets at one point just to mitigate the risk of this, but the team pulled really strong in Peru, and time spent in the community doing great things socially and environmentally, and with the farming and agriculture we brought in, it paid its dividends. And so far, we've been lucky twice out of 3 times on this project.
The Financial Survival Network. Now more than ever. The Financial Survival Network.
And welcome. This is Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz, and we have an update on a project that has been going on for so long, finally reaching fruition. I'm talking about Coppernico Metals. Find it at coppernicometals.com. CEO Ivan Bebek is with us now. Ivan, things are actually starting to happen with Coppernico, and some thought it couldn't be done, but with a copper price at $4.63, firm community backing, you've actually pulled off the impossible here.
Well, thanks, Kerry. Look, it's been some time, and a lot of promises were made back in the 2015 to 2020 effort, where we raised and spent over $100 million looking for some of the world's largest discoveries. And we came on this Sombrero project, which advertised as an incredible asset by exploration potential, but came with a price, which unfortunately for investors who are extremely thankful for, has been time. We're sitting at a threshold here or a major threshold we crossed with the communities, where we've had a chance to live in the communities, spend 8 years learning about their needs, and bring in predominantly agriculture programs to help them benefit with their nutrition in the Andes, an area that doesn't see much agriculture. These programs have led to a really strong, sustainable relationship between us and them, and it's giving us the ability to drill our first holes here in the coming month or so. We'll be hoping to drill here in June on one of the most coveted copper assets I'm aware of that's available to drill globally at the moment.
Right, and you kind of went through a lot of obstacles to get here, not the least of which was getting the community support, full community support, and getting your permits.
Yeah, so these obstacles, there's just 2 major things we faced here. One is it exploration? Is it probable enough to be a major shot? Is that potential for multiple big discoveries? Is it present or not? And we got through that through multiple areas of work that we've done, not only demonstrating considerable mineralization on surface, we see it in the 3rd dimension with some previous drill holes, but we also were challenged with the age of when this mineralization was formed. We and several major mining companies confirmed that it was all formed at the same age as all the major mines nearby on the same mining trend. This is an event in our careers to possibly extend a world-class mining trend, which would go well beyond a big discovery. It would give us the chance to have multiple potential major discoveries. And going back to Oren in 2020, right before COVID, when we decided to do the split, the actual whole spirit of that transaction came from a gentleman that was the head of exploration for BHP, one of the largest mining companies in the world. His name is Keenan Jennings. And if you watch in recent news, Keenan has recently joined our board and he became a shareholder in the company. But he pulled me aside back in 2018 and said to me, Ivan, look, this is at the top of our list for coveted exploration projects, and my favorite one. And if you want an investment from us, or if you want, us to eventually consider buying this from you, which is our end business goal, to sell to a major once we've monetized and de-risked a lot of the discovery, we would like it separated from your gold and silver assets. So that was the spirit. And we took that forefront. Where we stumbled first was in 2021. Once COVID was in full effect, we were not able to have community meetings or assemblies, nor did we push them when people's well-being and health was of serious concern, and it was at the forefront of everyone's mind. We actually had a chance to step in when governments were burdened with constant, issues around their country, and we were able to step into these rural communities and help out where the governments weren't quite able to get there, and then further on continue building incredible relations, bringing in the agricultural programs to help with the nutrition in the region as our first major, commitment to these towns. We've now expanded that, and now we're actually creating jobs. And everything we're doing, Kerry, is going to last well beyond whether we find a mine or not. Exploration is a risky business. It comes and goes, but the communities we're impacting with our social efforts are going to be enjoying these positive, sustainable benefits for many decades to come. And that's something we're extremely proud of. The waits to get to being listed, or to the stage of now where we're financing ourselves to drill and list the company, this wait's been tough because it endured the worst 2 years that I've seen in my 25 years of being in the business, and probably the same for every mining billionaire entrepreneur I've spoken to well before my time. It was challenging. The cliff that metals fell off of in 21, 22, and a bit of 23, it was quite severe. And I had never seen sentiment lower. So it pushed a lot of perseverance. And even at the board level, there was concern a year ago. The board wasn't sure we'd make it through. And at the same time, shareholders were frustrated. And it took, some check writing for myself and many great shareholders and some new, very big supporters to come online to get us through. And I held on. And, a lot of people ask me, what was your main ingredient to persevere through all of this? Well, there was three things. There was the opportunity, no question, because it starts there. There was the constant improvement in our relations with the communities that are affected by this project, which was very enticing. And thirdly, it was the outside interest of major mining companies. And I think we've checked the box of 5 or 6 of some of the larger ones in the world. And we kept getting a 10 out of 10 report card on the exploration opportunity. This certainly doesn't guarantee our discovery, but the way we're looking at this project right now is we view 3 or 4 holes to confirm the thesis that we might have the next potential Las Bambas in the world, and probably it'll take us 2 to 3 years minimum to find out it's not there. And that's the longevity that you want to have as an exploration investor behind your investment. We're raising capital right now, and I'm sure we'll get into that in a moment. But we're going to get a couple years of working capital and 4 different phases of drilling funded. That's our goal here, so that we can keep testing and testing. And if we get it right early, the chance to perform for our share price is going to be substantial. If it takes a bit more time to get it right, we at least won't have to go back to market to keep raising. So we're at a very, very, very pivotal inflection point with drill permits in hand that came in about 2 weeks ago, and getting our capital to go drilling here, which will start in about a month's time after the financing closes in May 15th.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the team, how it stands right now.
Yeah, that's a great topic. We started with some great geologists from Newmont, and it's rare to see this, but in the case here, I have to say it, the project actually outlasted some geologists, even though it has all the potential. And this is no fault to them. Everyone loves the asset, but it's just time and pressure and concerns with industry. What we've been able to do, though, is bring in some new people to the team. Christian Rios, our SVP of Corporate Development, who's based out of Lima. He's not new. He's been there from the beginning, and he's been our key person, not just with communities arranging all of the great things we've done, but with the government in Peru to get us through the permitting process and give us some really good footing in country. Tim Kingsley's new. He's been with us for about 1.5 years. He's our VP of Exploration. He's got about 19 years in the business. He's very prudent. I would say he's an understated, underspoken geologist. And the first thing, when I showed him Sombrero, when we showed him with our technical team, first thing I asked him was, what do you think? All these majors love the asset. The previous geologists love the asset. And he said, Ivan, I'm not going to tell you until I go see it myself. And he had to go to the project twice before he came back and finally gave me the big thumbs up on the project. And that's important, because the more you look at the project, even the rock over my shoulder here in the video here, the more you look at the rock, the more you like it. And you get a bias that develops over time. And bringing somebody in new at the forefront of the project with fresh eyes and fresh perspective. Tim was the first person we added. The second one was Keenan Jennings, who I met back when he was with BHP, and obviously there was interest in the project. Keenan comes from a very, very impressive geological background. He had worked on Oyu Tolgoi for Rio Tinto. He had subsequently been to Sombrero and worked with BHP as head of exploration. He actually had a familiarity with Las Bambas that supersedes all of us, where he was mapping Las Bambas back in 2000 with Anglo before that discovery was made. So he came on at the board level. His background has also got an MBA, and he's a very, very commercial-minded economic geologist. So he actually thinks about the monetization part just the same as we do. And the combination with him, Tim Kingsley, Christian Rios, and Antonio Ribas, who was formerly the VP of Geosciences for BHP, having those two executives really gives us the ability to punch well above our belt in terms of technical ability and to measure at a quality that you would hope to see at a major mining company. So that's how we've set ourselves up here as we're about to take on this exciting, multi-year exploration effort to go find the big one. I couldn't be more happier at the board level as well as on the team, having hungry geologists in their mid-40s as well as a senior geologist, approaching 60 and early 60s. You got a combination of experience and knowledge with hungry and mature geologists on the team, which is one of the best teams I'm aware of globally right now.
Okay, so this is multi-year effort here. It really has been a roller coaster. It's had its ups and downs, but yet you persevered.
Yeah, the perseverance, it came from the majors. Each time we showed this to a major miner, it was a very, very consistent response. This is a 10 out of 10 on an opportunity, a big opportunity for grade from surface and scale that would measure in our view, the top 10 potential global discoveries for copper. That constant narrative kept coming back from the majors, which is what drove me and gave me that confidence that we were chasing the right thing. We did consider looking at other assets at one point just to mitigate the risk of this, but the team pulled really strong in Peru, and time spent in the community doing great things socially and environmentally, and with the farming and agriculture we brought in, it paid its dividends. And so far, we've been lucky twice out of 3 times on this project. We've been lucky to find the project and have the opportunity. We've been lucky with the communities to get the access with them, and we can't wait to do more with them and provide additional jobs as we go forward. And the third luck we're going to look for is at the drill bit to see if we can find something of substantial scale in this rising copper environment. And it's truly a remarkable time. And I wish, Kerry, that I could take credit for planning it this well, but the copper market has certainly planned us, as we see copper at around $4.63 a pound US as we're talking today. And we're just entering copper deficit here, which will be a lot more serious in the next years to come as electrification and the modernization of the planet with the new electric vehicles as well as AI initiatives are really pushing forward on the technical innovation demand. And I think copper as itself, it sits in a very tough spot for quality copper deposits. And then the last part about copper, which is really important, and no one's talking about this, is 3 of the top 10 copper mines in the world are scheduled to shut down in the next 10 years to be at the end of their mine lives. And this just adds way more to already a really good copper market here of consequence that's just starting to get started. And, the view we had back at Oren was that all commodities would pick up as we're going out to make these world-class discoveries. And we certainly see gold and silver starting to participate, but copper's kind of been the bold leading one that's got everyone's attention. It's very easy to understand. Anybody with an electronic device or an electric vehicle or is building or renovating their house can understand the amount of copper that's needed. But a lot of things, and I've said this before, the world got it wrong on the supply side. We saw one minor disruption with a mine in Panama, Cobre Panama, First Quantum's mine, and the impact of that is serious. There could be more disruptions, you don't know, but at the same time on the exploration side, which is what we do, it's even harder to find these things. Hard enough that I'll spend half my career chasing a big swing like Sombrero and our Coppernico main flagship asset has, and that's where we are today. We're about to get our financing complete and start with our first drill permits to start drilling in the next 30 to 40 days.
Amazing, because I've been following the story for the better part of close to 5 years now. And I have to admit, there are times I was scratching my head thinking, can he pull the rabbit out of the hat? Can this really be done? Or is he just taken on too big a challenge that no mere mortal can really overcome?
Yeah, well, I'm a shareholder first, Kerry, and I'm a CEO second. And, from my original position at Oren, I bought over $5.5 million of Oren in the open market, up to as high as $3.75 per share. And I didn't buy that for any other reason than personal greed, and I thought we had it. The first half of that was buying because of Committee Bay. The second half of that position was because of the opportunity at Sombrero. And I've added more since then to keep the company going and get to this flexion point where we are. When I look at these companies that I'm involved in any aspect, I always look at it as a shareholder first. And that's where the benefit has to come at the end of the day, secondary to the communities. And I learned on the social part with Keegan, our first company in Ghana, West Africa, we impacted 8,000 people with that discovery of 5 million ounces. And those people today are continually benefiting from that footprint. In terms of what we're doing here, whether we find a mine or not, but even if we do find one, long after the mine's gone or the money's made, this community is still going to be benefiting from all these agricultural programs and many different things that we're going to do with them over the years as we go on this adventure. So that's a really big gratification part. It's not just about the money, it's also about the people. But if you're an investor into our company and you've been able to wait this long and you still have your position, you're very lucky. And if you're new to the story right now, you're even luckier because you're paying for 9 years and you're paying for some perseverance and tenacity that is uncommon, especially in volatile, tough times. But the asset, the background, the feedback from third parties has been strong enough to give us that third party validation that we really have a shot here. And that points me to the next point. We announced we're raising $15 million. We announced that a major mining company is buying 9.9% of Coppernico, the entire company. This is a significant vote of confidence once again. Newmont does own 8% of the company. Their most recent position was, we want to see what happens with the drill bit. The new company coming in won't be named until the closing of the financing, but they jumped the line on 4 others that were looking at it very serious. And the big challenge we had with some of these negotiations was a lot of the bigger miners wanted hooks to production or ways to invest at the project level. And we felt that would really limit our upside as what we've set out to do for shareholders. So we picked one of them that fits best with what we were looking for. And we're already developing an excellent relationship with them. And I think they're the right partner right now to drive this thing ahead. And we're going to be in a very, very strong financial position here shortly as we close this financing in the coming weeks. And we're above interest on what we went out to raise, which was 15 million. So we'll just be intelligent on a case by case basis to take the best shareholders and look to go drill some of the best holes we can in this copper environment. And then I guess that's the next major step for us. And then the question will come down to, how do we know if we've got it or not? And that's the next step. So in our presentation, you can go to the back of the deck in the appendix. We've got a couple slides from Las Bambas. And if anyone's wondering if we already have holes that indicate that thesis is in place, or if it's going to continue, and if we're on to this big potential thesis that we might have this major mine, I'd encourage you, when you wait for our drill results, to go look at those holes drilled at Las Bambas. And they range from 40 meters to 150 meters of 0.4 to 1.5% copper, but they're right from surface or near surface. They're continuous to the point where Las Bambas has about 1.6 billion tons of 0.6% copper. And to translate this to gold, that's about 50 million ounces of gold, 50 million ounces of gold in gold numbers. And that's what we're looking for in copper scale, to give you kind of the gravity of how great this opportunity really is.
Right. And then I guess once the financing's completed, you're moving ahead, listing is going to occur at some point in the not too distant future.
That's now the most asked question by shareholders. Everyone's wondering when we're going to list. Where we sit there is we're filing our last documents. It's an AIF and an independent technical report called the 43-101. We're filing those with the completion of this financing with the TSX, and we're looking to apply to list there. And we hope to have a listing trading symbol within 3 to 6 weeks after that application is filed. It will be up to the exchange and how quick or long that takes, but we've done our best to have all documents in order. So stay tuned for further updates. We'll be very, very formal with our updates as they come, so we can give everybody a time and a symbol to look forward to for when this company might trade. And the recent financing was done at 50 cents with a half warrant at 75 cents. That's good for 2 years, just to let everybody know where we've recently valued the company. That's about a $70 million valuation pre-money. And this gives us, I think, a very fair opportunity based on the 35 million we've spent and the 9 years of time that we've put in to get to this point. So very exciting 4 to 6 weeks ahead from this interview that we're doing here, Kerry. Can't wait to trade. Very excited to turn the drills and see what we've got.
All right. Exciting times. Really happy. You own shares as well in Coppernico, and looking forward to when they become free trading on the market. But for sure, it was worth holding out just for the story, the excitement, and the future potential. In any event, go over to CoppernicoMetals.com, sign up for email alerts so you will find out when the financing is completed and as well as when the inevitable listing will take place. And if you have any questions, just direct them to me, Kerry Lutz, KL@KerryLutz.com. Ivan, thanks for stopping by, giving us this update, and we'll look forward to more.
Thank you so much, and thanks for your patience, and everyone else who had patience with us, and those who've written checks to help us get through. Thank you very much for your support. It's gone to a great place, and some great things are finally happening. So look forward to it, and thanks again, Kerry.
The Financial Survival Network.